just snag a tourist? I have a very hard time doing those marketing exercises where they're like, even artist statements are hard to write because I'm like, do I have to write something for every body of work? How do I make this all come together? And anyway, so there's marketing exercises where it's like, what problem are you solving for your customer? And what's your unique value proposition? And just all that sort of thing where I just sort of stare at the piece of paper. It's been years, so I know that maybe it's just not right for me anyway, but I had this great realization yesterday. I was talking to my friend Marcella. I was like, if you can't think of a word, just ignore me because I've tried my whole freaking life and don't know. But is there any sense that you have of how you could like merge everything I do together in some sort of phrasing or word? Like, is there something there? Because she was saying, you know, you definitely have the style. Like if someone knows you and they say your name, it's like, oh yeah, Eva's stuff. Like we all know what that is. But I'm like, what is that? And she was like, it's kind of like, it's like gypsy carnival, but not bohemian. I'm like, yeah, I hate that. She was like, it's all like New Orleans. And I was like, oh, it is all New Orleans. Everything I do is inspired by New Orleans. And I realize that's true. That dark and light revelry, that feeling, that sound, the joyousness and the darkness and all the colors free flowing everywhere, like confetti and the beads all over the city and the beads hanging from the trees and draped and standing in the road at 3 a.m. in the fog. It's unreal. It's unreal. The sounds, the spirit. So I've decided it's true. Everything I do is New Orleans. My painted skull candle holder bottle, that's that New Orleans spirit. That's what I love. I lived there for less than a year. But before I was born, my family was from there. You know, my grandma still, to this day, orders cases of Café du Monde. She won't drink any other coffee. She just likes that chicory coffee. Yeah, playing piano at the St. Roch Tavern. Last time I went to St. Roch Tavern, it seemed like they had changed it, done something. It didn't seem the same. Yeah, I don't know if they're cleaning up New Orleans or if it's getting more dangerous or both at the same time because of each other. I do remember there was this push that people wanted like peace and quiet in the French Quarter, and it's like, so why don't you just go move to go to Sedona, Arizona then? Like, why would you demand quiet in the French Quarter? So why did I leave New Orleans? Well, it's a funny two-part. It's not so funny. Well, it's kind of funny. Okay, the bad part was I had a bed intruder. I woke up with some guy who had broken into the house, but I didn't know. He was like on top of me in my bed. Anyway, I escaped. There's a whole crazy story about that, but I escaped unscathed. So I'm a ninja. Use my brain. Okay, so I never stayed at my house again. I like stayed at a friend's house. I stayed at a couple friends' houses for the next month until I left town. Right after that happened, I put in an application for an internship at Site Santa Fe. So I was like, I was just so freaked out. At the time, I also had a job at an art gallery in the Quarter on Royal Street, which I loved. I loved my job. I sold artwork by Tim Burton and Tom Everhart, who was Charles Schultz's drawing buddy for Peanuts. Some other animator. It was a fine art gallery for professional animators. Right. So if I got the internship at Site Santa Fe, which is this great contemporary art museum in Santa Fe, New Mexico, right, it would mean I would have to leave my job. Now, the reason why I was okay with that, I really did, yeah. I couldn't lock the door. I don't know how my boss was able to lock the door, but I had asked her, I was like, can we change the locks? And she was like, yeah, maybe we can get around to it sometime. And I asked a few times, but she was like, you just gotta, and she would like pull it really hard. And she like had this whole thing down, and I mean, I would, when I had to close myself, I'd be there for half an hour. I'd be there for half an hour trying to close this door. I'd do the thing, I would put it shut, I'd do that, and like, I couldn't pull it hard enough. It was so insane. I would have to get literally 95% of the time. It actually might have been 100% of the time. Like either we were leaving together at the same time, but if she wasn't there, I had to snag a tourist. It was always some drunk guy who was very happy to help because they're like looking for things to do around the corner. But I'd be like, I need you to pull this so I can lock it because I can never get it done. And it would give me really bad anxiety, which is like the stupidest reason to like consider leaving a job because this, I feel like there could have been some way to fix it, but we didn't find anything, I guess, because I was stuck closing the impossible door. So I did get the internship, and so I left New Orleans, still freaked out from this bed intrusion, because the detective who came to the house after I'd fled the house and I'd ran like half naked through the city, like trying to escape this guy that I thought was chasing me with a knife, she was like, "You're really lucky because usually you end up raped and killed or just raped," but I was fine. So yeah. I feel like I could have a piano career if I lived in New Orleans. It's like the one spot you could have a piano career in the States. It's probably in New Orleans. My favorite piece of music is Tom McDermott's Insouciance. Oh my God. This song is the epitome of what it feels like. I'll link Tom McDermott's Insouciance below. Hit play. Listen to the piano, and then the accordion comes in. It's an accordion piano duet. Oh my God. I saw Tom McDermott playing at some bar cafe once, and I asked him if he did lessons, and he was like $50 an hour. I was like, oh, I can hang out with Tom for 1 hour for $50 and he'll teach me what he knows? Why haven't I gone back to do that? Anyway. Maybe that's what I need to do. One of the best birthday presents I ever had was my friend John in New Orleans. He, when I was living in Albuquerque, he arranged it so that someone, I guess really early morning of my birthday, which is October 2nd, would fill the tree outside my house with Mardi Gras beads. And so the idea was I wake up and I see this tree full of Mardi Gras beads, which he rightly knew would make my life and my heart sore. So anyway, he calls me later in the morning and he's like, "So did you see anything outside?" And I was like, "What? No, like nothing outside." And he was like, "What the?" And he like gets all quiet, like weirded out. I'm like, "What's going on?" Anyway, he calls me back later and tells me what was supposed to have happened, that he had worked out with someone that he met on Craigslist. I'm on the south side of the street, or was I on the north side? I was on the south side of Central. So I was like, let me check the same house on the north side of the street. So I walked up a few blocks, and sure enough, that house, the tree out front was covered in Mardi Gras beads. I was like, so he's probably super pissed at the friend who, got the address wrong. Well, not even a friend, just some guy he met. But can you imagine being like the other house and they're like, what the fuck? So I left them a little note and I explained like why there were beads in their trees. And they never reached out to me or said anything. I left my social media handle. I thought they would have been like, oh my God, that's so fun. But I guess when you're dead inside, like nothing's cool. But I just left it in their tree. I took a picture. I'll find the picture and post it here. Here it is. Also, everyone I told my story to was like, oh, yeah, you should hear what happened to so-and-so and myself and my cousin's cousin and everybody. And it would be like 8 times more horrifying than my own story. Everyone had a one-up story. And so I was like, this town is so dangerous, but it's the best town. It's the best town. Frenchman Street at night with like the 15 high school boys with the horns and drums. It's the greatest music show in the world. I love it. I miss it. Now I know people live there and have a living and make it happen. I didn't have enough money to live in a safe area. I think I was like in a not safe area. But if I ever get to live in the French Quarter, it'll be on the 2nd floor because... Thank you for watching. Take a pioneering step in investing in this artist's early career and hit like, hit subscribe, or leave a comment below. Have you been to New Orleans? Do you live in New Orleans? What do you think about New Orleans?